Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the Juniorite. Yo, what's up everybody? This is Junior Chicken here. Pokemon Ultra Sun and Pokemon Ultra Moon are coming out pretty soon. So I'm gonna have to put that top 12 Alolan Pokemon countdown on the back burner for a while. These games appear to be the sequels to Pokemon Sun and Moon. They're bringing new forms to certain Pokemon, as well as new Z moves, and hopefully some new Alola variants. Unfortunately, it looks like Mega Evolution is taking a back seat this generation despite being the main focus in Generation 6. Mega Evolution is still a game feature that has mixed opinions to this day. I, for one, really enjoyed the concept. It allowed weak Pokemon to finally become competitively viable, as well as brought fan favorites into an even bigger spotlight. The concept's actually fairly simple. If you give a Pokemon a specific Megastone, they gain 100 stat points, a new ability, possibly a new typing, and they overall become an improvement on what they were originally. And these are the 10 Mega Evolutions that I like the most, mainly based on how well I feel they improved on the original Pokemon. With this being my countdown, you can expect to see some Pokemon that I already enjoy even without a Mega Evolution, but this won't be 100% based on how well they are competitively. That's why you won't see Mega Mawile on here. I'm also excluding legendaries, so no Mega Mewtwo or Mega Rayquaza, and that's pretty much it. Let's get to it with my top 10 favorite Mega Evolutions. Usually a Mega Evolution is meant to build on the strengths of the original Pokemon, but those strengths may not always be apparent. Besides the stat distribution you gotta consider, you also need to take into consideration the type of the Pokemon, as well as their ability, and their possible moveset combinations. That's one thing I like about the Pokemon competitive scene, is that you can usually see those strengths really stand out. Sableye, for instance. On the surface, Sableye seems like a fairly underwhelming Pokemon. It does have a creepy and interesting design, but its 380 base stat total is pretty weak, and it doesn't really have any special abilities. That was until Gen 5 came around and gave it the hidden ability Prankster. Combine that with its typing, which had no weaknesses at the time, as well as its plentiful move pool of status moves, and you've got quite the troll up your sleeves. In competitive battling, Sableye is a complete wall who can block hits, recover HP, and screw over enemies with confusion, burns, knocking off items, and using their own attack stat against them with foul play. I gotta give props to Game Freak for really building on this with Mega Sableye. Its design has become even more creepier with red eyes, pointy yellow teeth, and the jewel that was embedded in its chest is now a big shield that grants it much better defenses than before. Yeah, it's even slower than it was before, and it no longer has Prankster, so it can't have priority whenever it uses a status move, but in its place you get Magic Downs. That means your opponent gets punished for using the same tactics Sableye uses. Burns, Stealth Rocks, any status move is reflected back to you. Of course, you can train Sableye to be a trolling wall with Will-O-Wisp, foul play, knock off, recover, protect, whatever you like, but you can also go an offensive route by setting up with Calm Minds and using Dark Pulses and Shadow Balls as solid stabs against your enemies. There's a reason why Nate Wants to Battle was so happy to see this Mega Evolution. One kick out of Mega Evolutions is usually seeing the changes made to the Pokemon. Not only can Pokemon get a new ability, or possibly even another secondary typing, but they can also get new moves as well. Case in point, Ampharos. Mega Ampharos is usually the poster Pokemon for Mega Evolutions with fabulous hair. But I'm not here to talk about fashion. I'm here to talk about how Mega Ampharos is an improvement on the original. Design-wise, the only thing I'm going to say is that I don't like what they did with its ears. Other than that, it's a pretty solid improvement. It's got an even more powerful special attack stat at 165, and it's got better defenses at the expense of being just a bit slower than a regular Ampharos. Then again, Ampharos was never a speed demon to begin with, so I can look past that. It also obtains Mold Breaker as an ability, which can be helpful in certain situations, such as facing Pokemon with Volt Absorb or Lightning Rod. But the real interesting thing is its typing. Did you know its Japanese name means Electric Dragon? That's the exact typing it gets when it Mega Evolves. Yep, it gains the Dragon typing. This may seem completely useless since originally Ampharos didn't have any Dragon moves other than Outrage, but Generation 6 fixed that by giving it Dragon Pulse. Also, Focus Blast and Power Gem become more useful since they can counter Ice types. Let's not forget that Ampharos also has some pretty good setup moves like Cotton Guard and Charge. I mean, you can build this up to be a threatening wall breaker or offensive Pokemon that can bust holes in the opponent's team, and take a few hits while he's at it. It also learns Sleep Talk. Talk about Pokemon dreaming of electric sheep now, huh? When designing a Mega Evolution, it needs to resemble the original Pokemon, while its appearance needs to reflect the stat changes made to the Pokemon, in order for it to be somewhat effective. Sure, you can make a Pokemon more fearsome and intimidating, especially in an offensive role because it really works well in that, but you can still get some mileage out of a comical route when it comes to a Pokemon's Mega Evolution design. I mean, look at Mega Slowbro. I mean, how is this not hilarious? The happy-go-lucky, derpy Slowbro is now terrified as the shell that once gnawed on its tail has consumed its entire body. But then again, this design is pretty reflective of the changes made to Mega Slowbro. I mean, if you were encased in a shell, you'd be pretty safe from a lot of hits made to the shell, which probably explains why Mega Slowbro has 180 physical defense, as well as shell armor for its ability. There's no way you're gonna crit this Pokemon unless you have a Mold Breaker. It also has a pretty solid special attack of 130, and with its outlandish type coverage, you can make it pretty offensive, using Calm Mind to build up your special defense as well as your offensive power. And since shell armor protects you from crits, there's no way you're losing that bulk. Of course, you can go the stall route by having Iron Defense, Amnesia, Slack Off, or Rest for recovering HP, and Scald for not only inflicting burns, but also making sure that the opponent will never switch in a fire type to take the burn.
Come on!
To sum this up, Mega Slowbro may look hilarious, but in the end, it's getting the last laugh. Man, the bug typing has really come a long way since Generation 1. No longer are they the weak and incompetent Pokemon you'd usually see. Generations 5 and 7 in particular introduced some awesome bug types that could actually fight back. On top of that, we got Mega Evolutions for 3 out of the 4 Gen 1 and 2 500 base stat total bug types. Sorry Scyther, but your evolved form just gets way more love than you do. So, which one is it? Mega Scizor? Well, it's a fairly good improvement, but they gave it Technician, which it already had as regular Scizor, so I don't know. Mega Pinsir? I actually think it's a bit of a step down, so they give it the Flying typing. Bug Flying is already overused, and now it has 2 more weaknesses? Let me just say that I think Mega Heracross gets way too much flack. Sure, it may not have the best design out of a lot of Megas. I really don't like what they did with its horn. How can you overlook this Pokemon's 185 attack stat? That's higher than Mega Garchomp, let me note. It also has even more solid defense stats. And while it may be a little slower, it's not like it was a speed demon to begin with. And it's got a pretty unique ability in Skill Link. This means that multi-hitting moves will always go for 5 times. Normally this ability would seem useless since Fury Attack is the only multi-hitting move that Heracross had at the time. But leave it to Generation 6 to give it Bullet Seed, Pin Missile, Arm Thrust,
And Rock Blast through breeding.
Now you've got an even more accurate and powerful stab move than Mega Horn, as well as a way to take care of fire and flying types. Sure, you may still end up using close combat for your fighting stab, but that's still a solid move pool nonetheless for a Mega to use. And hey, if you get a Moxie Mega Heracross, you can wait to Mega Evolve, knock out a Pokemon, gain some power, and then Mega Evolve, guaranteeing your victory. You don't have to Mega Evolve the first turn, let me remind you. When it comes to Mega Evolutions that bring love to an underappreciated Pokemon, the prime example is Mega Mawile. However, I'm going to go off the beaten path and choose Mega Lopunny. Lopunny on its own isn't really anything special. It has a solid speed stat and decent defenses, but even with its wide type coverage, it doesn't really have any offensive pressure going for it. It doesn't help that its abilities are fairly lackluster. Sure, you can have some fun with Switcheroo and Klutz, and Drain Punch does give it a form of sustain, but usually I just see Lopunny as an agility baton passer, which really isn't anything special. Thankfully, its Mega Evolution in Oraz turns it from a sexualized bunny into a formidable fighter. Seriously, she looks like a pretty strong female boxer. The fur on her hands looks like boxing gloves, she's got warrior lock-like ears, and some pretty awesome Blackthorn leggings. Mega Lopunny also gets a much better attack and speed stat, making her a great physical sweeper. She also gains the fighting typing, which you know is my favorite type. Just a heads up, these next two Mega Evolutions are also fighting types, and her ability is awesome. Scrappy allows you to bypass the Ghost immunity. Not only can you hit ghosts with normal attacks now, but fighting type super effectiveness carries over, meaning you can deal super effective damage towards Sableyes, Frostlasses, Spiritombs, and Aegislashes. To be honest, I'd have Mega Lopunny much higher if she wasn't so predictable on competitive battling. I swear, the only moveset I see on Mega Lopunny is Fake Out, Return, High Jump Kick, and Ice Punch. Of course, it has plenty of other normal and fighting stats to use, as well as some more type coverage in Bounce, Fire Punch, and Thunder Punch, but seeing that it's a fairly predictable Pokemon makes it less appealing to me. Regardless, I still love what this Mega Evolution did for Mega Lopunny. I mean, if you're a real Mega Evolution, you know how to bounce back. Ain't that right, Big Sean? Aw yeah, this is the Mega Evolution I was most excited for in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Don't get me wrong, Mega Gardevoir was pretty great too. It became an even better special Pokemon and had a pretty cool ability in Pixelate, but Game Freak gave it a little boost in its attack stat, a stat you would never use if you were ever training a Gardevoir. Whereas this Knight in bleached armor got all the great improvements. With a sleeker helmet, a cool ass cape, and arms that give Yu-Gi-Oh fans a huge boner, they definitely nailed the design for this guy. They gave it a huge attack boost, as well as a little more defense and more speed. Granted, I wish they gave it some more special defense as well, but hey, maybe they were going for more of a sweeper route with this guy, which isn't too bad either. And while I still think that my idea for Martialate would have been a better ability, I guess Inner Focus still works since it's a straight up improvement from Steadfast. Instead of increasing your speed every time you flinch, you just don't flinch. And with a wide range of physical attacks including Close Combat, Psycho Cut, Night Slash, Priority Shadow Sneak, as well as attack boosting moves like Swords Dance and Bulk Up, you'll definitely be tearing up your enemies faster than they can say it's time to duel. I bet King Arthur would have loved to have this knight at his round table. Okay, I gotta admit there is some pretty heavy bias behind this choice. If I were to pick my favorite Pokemon, Lucario would easily be in my top 5. Also, Lucario's Mega Evolution is very influential, being canonically the first Pokemon to ever Mega Evolve, and being the first Mega Evolution you get in your X and Y story. But when you really look at it, Lucario is a solid example of how to do a Mega right. It has a much more rough and edgy design, which is a bit off-putting to me. He's got longer warrior lock hair, some extra spikes on its hands and feet, and pretty sick battle scars. And as you can expect, it becomes faster and stronger in both attack categories after it Mega Evolves, although it only becomes a little bit more physically defensive and gains no special defense whatsoever. I also feel like Mega Launcher would be a much more suitable ability since it boosts aura and pulse moves, and Lucario's concept is all about aura. With that being said, adaptability is still pretty sweet. You get even more powerful stabs, meaning Pokemon that are weak against you likely don't stand any chance. And with a well-rounded move pool, including priority moves Extreme Speed, Vacuum Wave, and Bullet Punch, you can definitely see why this Mega Evolution got banned to Ubers. I've actually been thinking about running a Mega Lucario with Vacuum Wave, Bullet Punch, Swords Dance, and Nasty Plot. Let me know in the comments if you think that's a good idea. Yeah, I know this is an obvious pick, but if you're one of the most versatile sweepers in the Pokemon universe, you definitely deserve this spot. So usually I bust a joke about dragons quitting their jobs, but that joke pretty much died after a sour night I had at my favorite pub, so yeah, Mega Charizard. Despite what the populace may think, I'm putting both Mega Charizard X and Mega Charizard Y in this spot. Mainly because they both take different approaches on how to enhance Charizard, but both each have their own benefits that seem pretty equal. I can't really say that one is better than the other.
The first Mega Charizard introduced was Mega Charizard Y, who was unveiled alongside Mega Venusaur and Mega Blastoise.
Its design definitely looks like a more sharp and threatening version of the original Charizard. Plus, it gains a big boost to its special attack, making it an even better special sweeper than before. It also gains special defense and some attack for some reason. Thankfully, it's got an awesome ability in Drought. With the Sun up for 5 turns, you get more powerful fire attacks, and you can launch free solar beams at your enemies. Good luck switching in a water or rock type. Now Charizard is a real offensive threat with its rounded move pool of special fire attacks, Solar Beam, Air Slash, Focus Blast, Dragon Pulse, and of course Roost for HP recovery.
But of course, the fan base was not pleased by this. Come on, Game Freak, why can't you give us a Fire Dragon Charizard for once? You've had this opportunity for years and you wasted it. It's still 4 times weak to Stealth Rocks. What's wrong with you, Game Freak?
So, to appease those fans, they unveiled Mega Charizard X. And they made sure it was the fan favorite by including it in the Pokemon Origins movie and as Charizard's final smash in Smash Bros. 4. With this new dragon motif, Charizard now has black and blue skin, spikes on its shoulders, and a flaming beard. It also now gets a boost to its defense, making it more physically durable than before, and gets an equal attack and special attack stat. Although, with its ability Tough Claws, it's more physically biased, especially now that it can learn Flare Blitz, Dragon Claw, and Outrage. You can now tap into its physical move pool, which includes Earthquake, Rock Slide, Wing Attack, and Shadow Claw. However, you can still use special attacks like Solar Beam and Flamethrower if you'd like.
But then the fan base was like, what the hell, Game Freak? Why did you give Charizard 2 Mega Evolutions but not Venusaur or Blastoise? He already gets enough special treatment within the anime. What's wrong with you, Game Freak?
And this is why the Pokemon fan base flabbergasts me from time to time. Aw yeah, you knew Mega Gengar was gonna be here somewhere. I mean, what can I say? It's absolutely terrifying. Well, not to me personally, but anyone who faces a Mega Gengar knows they're in a whole heap of trouble. It has a pretty much more spiky and menacing design than the original Gengar, as well as that creepy yellow circle on its head. It also has by far the best shiny out of any Mega Evolution. And no, I haven't trained that shiny Gengar yet that I got in October 2014. So far it's just been a keepsake, but trust me, I will get onto training it sometime during the holiday season this year. It's more powerful and faster than ever before, but they also increased its defense and special defense, so it can take hits a little better than it used to. And while it may seem like a downgrade to take away Levitate, making it weak to ground attacks again, Shadow Tag is definitely worth it. Your opponent is officially trapped, unless they're a ghost type, and there's no way they can even switch out to a Pokemon that counters you. They pretty much have to stay in and wait for their impending doom. And what a doom it will be! Of course, you have access to Stab, Shadow Ball, and Sludge Bomb, as well as plenty of other type coverage. You can also have some tricks up your sleeve, like Hypnosis to put the Pokemon to sleep, Destiny Bond to guarantee their fate, Taunt to stop them from setting up, or Snatch to steal their setup. And let's not forget the most sadistic and infamous strategy, Perish Song, combined with Shadow Tag, and they officially can't do anything when you swap out the next turn and have them die to the Perish Song. No wonder this thing got banned to Ubers. I say pick your pestilence with Mega Gengar. I said that legendaries were excluded from this countdown, but what about pseudo-legendaries? You know, those 600 base stat total Pokemon that are found near the end of the game and are usually pretty hard to catch, and they're more often than not dragons? Yeah, these are already Pokemon with solid stats and move pools that are nearly counterless with the right setup. So why in Arceus' name would you even give a Pokemon like that a Mega Evolution? Maybe because their typing got nerfed in Generation 6. Now they really need something to become badass with. Even if they were already badass in the beginning, I guess. But what can you expect from a machine that's a supercomputer that eats people? Mega Metagross was pretty much inevitable, since Generation 6 put a huge focus on Mega Evolutions, and Steven Stone has quite the affinity for Metagross. That being said, this Mega Evolution is still spectacular. It stays true to its previous evolution processes by doubling Metagross's limbs, but it doesn't stray too far from Metagross's original design. You still got the red eyes, the terrifying mouth, and the X on its face, which is now gold. It got a boost to pretty much every stat, surprisingly speed got the most, and it's more durable and packs more power than ever before thanks to the ability Tough Claws. Unlike Charizard, Mega Metagross has way more moves that allow it to take advantage of contact moves. These included Signature Meteor Mash, Priority Bullet Punch, Zen Headbutt, and Hammer Arm for those pesky dark types. This thing smashes enemies harder than a hole punch the size of a mini fridge. Never mind that it can learn Hone Claws and Swords Dance if you want to boost its attack even higher. Although I do feel that Levitate would still be a better ability. I mean, it's literally floating in the air. Its undeniable offensive prominence, solid bulk, and generous speed for a steel type makes it easily my favorite Mega in the series. I'll take a Mega Metagross over a T1000 any day of the week. DMX, take it away.
X gon' give it to ya. Fuck, wait for you to get it on your own. X gon' deliver to ya. X gon' give it to ya. He gon' give it to ya. X gon' give it to ya. He gon' give it to ya. He ain't never gave nothing to me.
Thank you for watching this Pokemon Countdown. Hopefully this will tide you over for my top 12 favorite Alolan Pokemon Countdown, which should come sometime after I complete Ultra Sun or Ultra Moon. In the meantime, you can check out some other Pokemon Countdowns I made and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching, I'll see you later.